When you have the power to understand why you make certain decisions, why your life is the way it is, why you get the grades you get. Here's the thing, I don't know you, but I know that everything about you comes from what you believe, from your why, from what is going on with you. So, let me explain to you how I came to know this. Let me ask you a question. If I could give you a secret, like a magic wand, and with this magic wand you could be, do, or have anything that you wanted, how many of you, by a show of hands, would want that magic wand? You know, half of you, and the other half are like, he is not getting me to engage. He will not do it. I'll try to win you over, I promise. See, most people would want that secret. I know I wanted it. You know, just a short time ago, I was living in one of the worst neighborhoods in the country. There was a day, though, that the story of my life changed forever. It shifted forever. I'm driving in my mom's hatchback, it was a little car, and next to me I've got an ounce of dope, a pipe, and a lighter. And I just took a hit. I pull up to the stop sign, I'm leaving my place. I'm living in a house with 16 other guys. Okay, it was more like a jail cell. If I stretched my hands like this, I could actually touch both sides of the place where I lived. It was voted at the time the #1 place most likely to get shot in Canada. Jane and Finch in Toronto. Someone's like, I know that. I saw that on the news. Yeah. That's where I was living. And so I pull off from the stop sign, and I don't know how I didn't see it, but of course I really know how. And all of a sudden, boom! I'm head on with another car. The entire car crushes around me. I don't actually remember hitting the other vehicle. All I remember is the moment before it where I'm like this, and then nothing. All I remember is coming to. I don't know about you. I don't know if any of you have ever been in a situation where you've experienced a crash, whether it's emotionally, maybe somebody died, and all of a sudden you got into that moment of, whoa. Maybe you got hurt some really bad, and emotionally you got crushed. And you're like, whoa. Life is funny. If you don't wake up to life, life kind of has a tendency to wake you up. And he shows up at the battlefield. You got to imagine 2 warring nations. And on one side, you've got Goliath, the man-giant. And on the other side, steps out onto the field, you've got David, the shepherd boy. And David looks right at him, directly at him, and says, I'm going to cut your head off. David doesn't even have a sword. I don't know how he's going to cut his head off. But understand that he stayed focused on what do you get. Well, David picks up the rock, puts it in the sling, hits the giant on the side of the head. It comes to a crash. David walks up to the giant, takes out his sword from his sleeve, and cuts the giant's head off. Here's the moral. Here's the piece of that story that I love, and I honestly believe a lot of people miss it. But here's what it is. Not once did David ever ask about the giant. Not once did David ask about the obstacle. Not once did David say, what about the giant? Is he a killer? Is he going to destroy me? What kind of moves does he know? What's his weapon of choice? David didn't ask those questions. What kind of questions do you ask when you're faced with your giants, with your challenges? Do you focus on everything that could go wrong? Or do you do what David did? And David did what? He focused on, what do I get? What do you get if you kill your giant? What if you get if you do the things that you know you should do rather than doing the things that everybody's telling you to do? What do you get if you learn to champion your story? Well, here's what I got. I got my life back. I got my dream back. I got to come back on stage, and I got to talk to the most important resource, in my opinion, which is you, the future leaders. This is your world. This is your world. The stories that you create today are the futures of tomorrow. They're not mine tomorrow. I'm already living it. This is your world. So what kind of world are you going to live in? What kind of stories are you going to create? You go back home, you go back to school, you go back to wherever you come from, and now you know that you have the power to change your story, to change your filters, to tell yourself a new thing. This will send new messages to your reticular activating system, which will go out in the world and give you new results.